First of all, thank you all for coming. My name is Tomislav Kozacinski. You can call me Tom. My friends call me Koza back in Croatia. I'm from Croatia originally. Being a teenager, a lot of girls I met, they called me "Get away from me, you creep." I'm going to be talking about freelancing. This is actually a talk that I've been doing for a couple of years now. I've done it this Sunday in Russia, in Siberia. So it's actually going to be a very interesting experience for me to compare how you're going to react to certain stuff. And I'm looking forward to your Q&A at the end. So a little bit about me. I started my career as a web designer, which you can see is pretty awesome. This is my Twitter and Instagram accounts. If you're tweeting, Instagramming or whatever, I would be happy if you guys tag me so I can share it later. So I started as a web designer, actually as a graphic designer first, then a web designer. It was some 14 years ago, started my first company and moved from there to software. If you remember, like 10, 12 years ago, there was those small little laptops called netbooks. So I even designed the software for that. This was other crap, but it was wonderful. And from there, I also started as I worked as a stand-up. I've been a stand-up comedian for 14 years. I've done it professionally for the last 5. And if you follow me, this is a short disclaimer. Sometimes it just happens. It's not so if you're faint of heart, do not. So who am I actually? So I'm trying to be an advocate for freelancing and remote working because I believe that in 21st century it's going to be the future of work, and a lot of people are just kind of not brave enough to do it. So I'm here to help people to try to do it and to tell them what are the bad sides of freelancing and remote work. And before I start, can I see by show of hands who is already a freelancer and working? Okay, cool. So big difference from Russia where it was just 2 people. So it's good to know. So that's it. So I've been doing, this is my comedy group that I started a couple years ago. This is us doing our show in Croatia in September. It was in front of 2,000 people. That was an amazing experience. And one of the things, why I'm mentioning this is because I did, for a year, I did parallel full-time freelancing as well as doing up to 7 shows per week for a year. So it was like really challenging, and I'm going to be talking about that as well. So I want to talk about everything that goes in. So why this talk? Primarily because this is just a joke. I do not feel that people, I'm not in it for the money. And a lot of people think, well, if you go freelancing, if you go contracting, you're going to earn a lot of, more money, which is true to a certain degree. But a lot of people fail to realize when you actually are working as a freelancer, when you're not working, when you're sick, there's no money coming in. So a lot of people kind of forget the small stuff about this. But I don't like corporate jobs. This is not me. I held one proper real job in my life that I was actually working for somebody, and it was, I just want to stop the clip. Oh, no. So yeah, one of my first jobs that I did, so I dropped out of uni in year 2, and it was at a time when there was, the web design was a new thing that everybody's doing, but it was before all the things that web design is today. So actually I joined TalkTel in the first year as front-end developer because they didn't have a designer then. So and when I started out, my first job was in a company that does, actually they do these things. We call them penguins. What do you roll-up banners, right? So the company was importing roll-up banners. And I joined the company as a graphic designer to do the graphics. And their strategy was to give design for free and to sell more of this shit. So I tried to explain that we can earn more if we actually charge design, not the actual thing. But this is one of the main differences where I had with them. And one Friday, it was Friday 2 p.m. I was done with all the work for the week, and we were not going to start any new work till Monday. And I came into my boss's office, and I said, hey, we're done with everything. Can I go home? Because we're not going to be doing anything until 5 p.m. So there's no point of me staying here. And she told me, bless her heart, she told me, you cannot leave because you signed up for this. We are paying you to sit here till 5 p.m. so you can't leave before 5, so you better find something else to do. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine, fair point. I spent those hours drafting my resignation letter, and and on Monday morning I came in and said, thank you very much for the opportunity, blah blah blah, I'm out. And after my 2 weeks notice, I was out. I started my first company thinking I'm going to be better than them at what they are doing. I know much better, I will be amazing, and my company gloriously failed under 1 year. But I at least did it. So I always kind of had that problem with authority. I don't know why. I think it comes from school. I always was the one skipping school. And my mom actually shared, my mom shared a meme yesterday. So that sounds so fucking weird. My mom shared a meme. But my mom shared a meme, like a discussion between a parent and a teacher on a teacher-parent conference. And parent asking, like, how is my kid doing? Is he being polite? Yes, he is. Is he stealing from other kids, like their pencils or whatever? No, he's not. Is he fighting with our kids? No. Okay, so he's a good kid. Yes. But there's a problem. He has all the F's from math and geometry and barely passable grades from history and whatever. And the parent said, so basically what you're telling me, everything I'm teaching my kid to be a nice person, he's good at, and everything you're teaching him, he's just failing, so you're the problem. And this is how I kind of felt. Yeah, this is like, I felt like a guy that, I always kind of felt that I'm not getting what I want out of school, and I'm fortunate enough to have a parent who bought a computer when I was in grade school, so it was like in the 90s. And my mom got me like a used PC from her work, and I got into computers early on. And one of the first things that I actually did was, maybe you remember those Greg Martin space wallpaper things. So this is how I got hooked on Photoshop and just started working. And this is how basically I started. But yeah, this is my problem with authority. So I gave like a proverbial middle finger to regular work, and I set out to do something on my own. And this is when I started my first company, joined TopTel after that, and this is why I want to talk to people that they can do it. One of the things that when I'm talking about freelancing is I'm talking about what are the negative sides of freelancing, because a lot of people kind of come in to freelancing not thinking about everything that goes into this. And this is like, Doc, you do not see what is on the screen, right? Nobody sees. Can we maybe turn down the lights a little bit? Probably not. So it's basically Morpheus from Matrix, saying I can show you the door. But, can you see this? Okay. I'm really relying for you to see the funny thing, so you will. Yeah. Okay. Freelancing. So this is not freelancing, and since we have a lot of freelancers in the room, I will not going to ask audience what do you think freelancing is. But when I'm talking about this on unis, and a lot of people who never came in contact with freelancing, a lot of people think that freelancing is sleeping how long ever you want and then doing work in your own time, which is kind of true. But and when I started my first company, I thought, okay, I will be sleeping in, doing on my own time, and basically I was very wrong because this turned out to be freelancing. And I was the first one in through the doors when I started working, and I partnered with a couple of people, and I wanted to be the example. So I started to come into the office at 7 a.m., and ever since then I had that habit of just can't sleep in anymore. So beginnings are hard, and a lot of people when they start, they think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, which is not. And when I started out, I was fairly young, I was in my early 20s, and had no network, no clients. There was no Meetup.com didn't exist. Facebook didn't exist actually. So it was a kind of weird period of me trying to find clients, and I never read at that point any business books because I thought I was all-knowing, all-powerful, being wrong, and I didn't know how to reach out. So I reached out to all of the people I know, and like friends that I know that their parents have companies, and they maybe know something that can recommend me to this guy that builds websites. And one of the projects that I got was from a guy who wanted his website built, but did not understand why am I charging so much for a website. And back then it was around £200, so not that much. But for people in Croatia in early 2000s explaining why do they need to pay a lot of money for having their websites built, it was a thing that I need to educate every client. I need to tell them what is the value of web design. Why do they need a website? And I thought that older I get, more experience I will have, I will move away from that. And now, like, I'm a product designer, and I find myself working with clients, again, explaining what I do and why they need it. So not a big project there. And one of the guys that, one of the first clients I had, he sent in his own design that he just needed to be built as a website. So he sent me this. So this is a website he designed in Excel. And I actually keep this file. I still have it. It's on my drive. And he sent me this, and he said I designed this on my own. And my response was like, well done, because I have no idea how to do this. I would never use this. And I told him I can't help him. This is not something I can build into a website, but I can build it on like a completely normal website. And I'm going to charge you for it. And I told him this cannot be done. He went to file, save as HTML, and uploaded this to the hosting and said, like, see, it's a website, you're just trying to scam me. So that's a real story. And that's just one of the clients. But it gets better. It gets better if you actually learn how to fire clients. And this is something that a lot of people kind of fear, that when they go freelancing, they fear that they will lose money if they fire bad clients. And it feels bad, but they're paying me some, just not going to do this. And when I fired my first client, a couple of years later, it's a guy that I actually met through stand-up comedy, and he was also a comedian. We worked for a couple of years on. I was doing his website, his posters and whatever. And once he was doing a project where he needed me to do a couple of posters, a couple of designs for stuff, and it was a really short deadline. I said, I'm going to do it, no problem. And before I actually delivered the thing, he sent me an email the day before the deadline and said, please set aside a couple of hours tomorrow so we can fix all of the mistakes you are going to make. So that was in his email. And I replied to the email, thank you very much for your honesty. This is everything I did up until this point. This is my last invoice. Please do not talk to me again for any work. So this is like, I'm done. He apologized, like, oh, it's not what I meant, blah, blah, blah. But basically I was done. And what I like to say to people is, like, feel free to fire a client because you will find a better one. It's just like how it goes. And around this point I started working with TalkTalk. It was my first real remote work. And I was one of the first people, first designers in my community that was like a remote worker. So this is how remote work was advertised to like, how many people actually try to do this? Like, how many people actually take their laptop on a beach? You know that you see shit on your screen when there's sun, you will not see it. So this is not remote working. A lot of people are like, yes, do a remote career. You can travel the world, be a digital nomad, whatever, work from a beach. Nobody ever worked from a beach. And this is actually how remote work looks like. I was fortunate enough at some point to have a couple of clients at the same time. One being from San Francisco, one being in London, and the other one being in Shanghai. So I thought that was amazing. Look at me, I'm living the dream, working with clients from all over the world, which actually meant that I'm working in all of the time zones. So it was great for the first week. I wake up, I talk to my client, then I work, and then I have lunch, and I talk to my other client when he's morning, and then I come home, and then I work and talk to my third client, and at some point I realize it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. And working from home a lot, when I started out, I had a home office. And I was not aware of the thing that's called cabin fever. You know what cabin fever is? So it's a thing, okay, some people are nodding yes, some people are nodding no. Cabin fever is basically a psychological state you enter when you're closed up in a confined space for long periods of time, which I didn't know when I was working home. It just felt like shit. I didn't know why. So I actually seek help, which was a great thing to do. And I was advised to like go out, meet some people, work with somebody, and just move a little bit. So one of the things that I like to advise to people is if you want to be a freelancer and a remote worker, to actually go to a place like this. When I started years back, there were no co-working spaces. There were no scams. Oh, we were pardon me. There were. So we actually, a friend of mine and me, we rented an office, and I worked with a friend who's a developer. We were not working on the same project, but we were working together in the same room, which kind of helps to bounce ideas and just have somebody to talk to, which is sometimes great, sometimes not. And how to become a freelancer is something that I never could have. This is a question I never could have answered straightforward. Like these are the steps that you do. And when I started doing this talk, one of my advices was like, quit your job and find clients, and it's gonna work out great. And some people listened to my advice and then failed miserably. So now I do not give out the same advice. Kind of changed a little bit. It's more about while you're working, try to find a client half-time as a freelancer that you will see if it works, and then quit your job and find another client for full-time and then go forward, which is a little bit more sane and better approach to think. And yes, you can't quit if you don't try. It's a motivation show, right? So how do you start? When I wanted to become a UX designer after being a web designer and front-end developer, I had a guy, a mentor, who was this great UX designer, and I had zero knowledge of what he actually does. But I kind of had an idea, so I asked him, like, what do I need to do to be good as you are? So he told me, like, okay, learn every detail on the topic. And he actually gave me one physical meter of books, and he told me, once you read this meter of books on the topic, then you're going to be an expert. And then you just go out and network with people, meet other professionals in design, but outside of design, in development, in marketing, in all the things that are connected, but not necessarily the same thing, and build a project. Just build something with your new learned skill, just for free, or with people you meet in your network, and that project will fail. And when it fails, you will learn from it, and then you repeat. And this is what I did: build a couple of projects, and then actually found clients to do on what I want to do. I had an opportunity to meet a couple of people who were amazing at what they do, but they did not share their work. When I was getting married a couple of years ago, I met this girl who was an amazing photographer, and I asked her, like, can you give me a link to your website so I can contact you when there's a wedding we would like to hire you? She told me, like, oh, I don't have a website. Okay, cool, doesn't matter. Can you give me your Facebook profile or your Instagram profile, whatever? And she said something along the lines, I do not believe in social networks, or whatever. So okay, how can I find you? And she told me, oh, I have some of my photos up in a bar/gallery on the outskirts of town. I was like, yeah, okay, that will never happen. So I asked her, do you work a lot? Do you have a lot of clients? She said, like, no, I'm struggling finding clients. Well, no shit. And this is the problem with a lot of people. They are amazing at what they do, but they do not share their thoughts on whatever they do. They do not share their work, and this is why they do not progress. And a lot of people can you tell me what's your secret? How do you get work? How do you find clients? How do you work with people that you want to work? And basically, it's not a real secret, but I tell people, do not go in your basement. This is basically, and I know it's a bit of a moot point saying this to people who actually came out to a meetup, but a lot of people do not do this. And one of the reasons I'm telling you this is to tell people that I'm sure that you know somebody who told you, like, I would love to come with you to this event today, and didn't come. Or they said, well, next time you go to an event, let me know, and then you tell them, and they do not show up, right? So this is why it's on us to help these people as well. Okay, communication. This is one of the most important points. When I started working with remote clients, because I was so used to working alone, I would get a project and then I would start working on it, and then once I was done, I would deliver it. And clients were not happy with the way how I communicated because I was not communicating. And they had a feeling that I'm on the opposite side of the world. How can they be sure that I'm actually working? And I never charge per minute or hour or ever use like a time tracking tool. It was always, I'm not selling my seconds or minutes. I'm working on a project with you. So I had one developer that I met through TopTal actually, who told me that every day, at the beginning of the day, he sends an email to the client, oh, good morning, whatever, John. Today I'm working on this, this, and this. I will update you once I'm done. And then at the end of the day, he would just send like a little update of what he did today, what is the plan for tomorrow. He would do this daily. And he realized that at the end of the project, clients had zero questions. And when he sent out his invoice, the client would just pay with knowing what they got. So this is one of the main things that I learned, is like you need to find a supportive team and supportive people around you that will teach you stuff that you do not know. But more importantly, you need to basically tell to yourself that there are stuff that you don't know, and this is a lesson that it took me a long time to learn. So at the end of the day, you do you and do whatever you love. So that's why I did. At some point, I wanted to prove myself that I can be a designer and a comedian at the same time, and travel the country, doing the shows in the evening, working throughout the day, and I did it. Stand-up comedy actually paid for my wedding, which was a great thing, but it cost me a lot of back pain for spending so much time in the car and just sitting down. And at the end of the day, I had to choose what I want to do, and I kind of believe that whatever we are doing today in this current industry can go away fairly quickly, and when it does, I can default back to being a funny asshole on stage. So that's basically it in short. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. I think we're good on time. If there's any questions, I would really love you for you to ask questions. Yeah, you start.
Okay. Tips on the motivation.
Tips on motivation.
Yeah.
Okay. In what terms?
When you're feeling like demotivated.
When you feel demotivated. Okay, cool. Well, you need to know why you started and what motivated you to start in the first place. So if that changed, find your motivation. If it's still there, then just remind yourself. I can tell you what motivates me, but something that's true for me is not necessarily true for everybody else. So I come from Croatia, and I grew up during wartime. And my dad was in war. My mom was stay-at-home mom at that point. So I kind of feel that coming from where I come, a lot of people that I met who are migrants and children of migrants we are kind of raised. Nobody is raised to be rich or successful. We are just raised to be good enough and better than our parents. So this is what our parents want from us. They want us to be to have better than they do. But so nobody ever taught us how to think about success, how to actually move forward. So when my dad is on a low pension and my mom had no job, so it was on me to provide for my parents and for my family. So that was my motivation. When I quit my job and decided to start my own company, for the first month, I was literally hungry. I was using my last paycheck while paying for office and the equipment and living off of tea and biscuits for a day. That was how I started. And that was what motivated me. I was never motivated by financials in terms of I'm going to be rich as fuck and drive a car or whatever the shit some people like. I just wanted to provide for my family and just get better and better and better. And then while I was doing better for my clients, better clients came with better paid projects, and kind of being paid better was just a side effect and byproduct of me doing good work. Does that answer your question? So we have two. It's over here.
How do you ensure career progression and direction?
Okay, career progression and?
Direction, the direction of your career.
Oh, direction of my career. So, okay, I'm a little bit like a squirrel. So I'm like, oh my god, nuts, and then I go to that direction. But I never had like a 5-year plan for what I want to do. I kind of knew what I want to do, but I didn't know exactly what I want to do. And since a lot of us are in a field where a lot of things are changing fairly quickly, so I can't say that in 5 years now I want to be a product designer, because 5 years ago they didn't exist. It was like, oh, UX, and I want to do with phones and mobile apps and design, but it kind of always morphed from year to year. I just knew that I want to be working on products, working with people, working with customers. This is kind of felt natural, but I never had like a clear vision. On stand-up comedy side, I knew that my goal was I wanted to be a guy that has his own special. I wanted to build a good 90-minute set. It was kind of goal on that side. But for this one, it was never 100% clear. Just knew kind of what interests me. Just see where it goes. But it's me. So sorry.
For somebody who hasn't got much experience with networking or starting out to know where to kind of put themselves, what advice would you give them?
For people who do not have experience in networking?
Yeah, or who, I guess, want to get better in networking.
Want to get better in networking? Okay, so I don't have problems with talking to people. But when I started meetups in Croatia, a lot of people were there. It was the first meetup ever around web design, so people are not used to meetups. When I came to London 6 years ago to a first meetup, I was a guy standing alone, and a lot of people just approached me, hey, hi, I'm John, what do you do? So it was like much more easier in London. One thing that I know that works is just be honest, be yourself, and talk to people and share your ideas and share your thoughts and whatever you're passionate about. Just share that with people. And some people will not give a shit what you're talking, what you're all about. And some people will genuinely want to listen to you. And as time goes by, you will meet people that you can work with, you can partner with, and then you can just move forward from there. But just be open, be yourself, and be present. A lot of people are stay at home, or when there's a conference, they look at like a live streaming thing or whatever. I like to encourage people to try speaking on meetups, like smaller events like this, or even smaller, where even if they don't feel comfortable at stage, it's if you actually try, you will see nothing bad will happen. Just talk about something you're passionate about and share with people. And when I did my first conference talk, there were people in the audience who I knew were better than I am in what I do. So there were people who I consider mentors or rock stars in their own field, but nobody else in the audience knew that. So people wanted to talk to me after the talk. So just kind of use that as a tool to move forward. And then you go to conferences, you meet other people, and you just keep doing that. Okay?
How do you stand out compared to all the other freelancers around? Like, how do you win gigs, especially like in London? It's a very crowded space, but then if you go online, it's even crazier because there are people who offer like the same project for way less money because they do somewhere where it's cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. So two things. So how do you compete in London, or
like how do you stand out? Like,
and how do you stand out? And then online. So first of all, you mentioned there are people who are willing to do something cheaper. Great. Let them do it cheaper. Are you competing on price, or are you competing on quality? If you're competing on lower prices, then you will never win against people who live in countries where it's cheaper to live, so they can cut down on prices however they want. So I come from a country that's way cheaper than London, and I know a lot of developers who are charging London rates because they're charging on quality of work, not on the place they live and what they're doing. So how do you stand out? Depends on what you do, what industry you are.
digital marketing.
You're digital marketing. So I actually work with a guy who's digital marketing, so I know how he stands out. He does campaigns that he's doing, and then he shows case studies of how he improved things for his clients and how he made them convert, sell, whatever their goal is. So we come back to share your work, share what you do, and then make sure that potential clients or customers know that they are getting the worth of whatever they're paying. You could say just like, I'm going to do your digital goodwill for £5. I will not consider it because you're too cheap. So there's the thing that is too cheap. If like, for example, we go out for a pizza, and there's a pizza place that's like has a £1 pizza, whole pizza for £1. Are you going to eat it? Not really, right? Because who knows what they put in it? Probably cats and dogs, right? So you don't want to be £1 pizza. You want to be £100 pizza in black golden box with a red bow on it, and then you open it, it's amazing. So you're competing on quality.
Mm.
Okay.
On the same theme, how do you then, you decide you're not going to be the cheap guy, but
Yeah.
how do you communicate that to the client without offending them and making yourself look like you're just wanting money?
Like you're pointing money.
Not
Wanting money.
Wanting money.
yeah, wanting.
Well, of course we all want money. I don't want to.
Because they probably don't understand that we have to pay national insurance and things ourselves.
Okay.
So how do you communicate the rationale behind what you're charging to the client without offending them?
So okay, regarding the offending people, I never thought about it in my life, to be honest. I communicate clearly and openly, and I stand by with what I say, and I'm responsible for what comes out of my mouth, and people who get offended are responsible for what they hear. I never try to offend anybody with my price. I don't know who gets offended. It's just that if let me find a good example. Some people feel offended that iPhone is 3 times more expensive than the same phone that has Android that has the exact same specs. It's like the phone is not too expensive, you just don't have enough money to buy it. That's the thing. So depends on who is your target audience. Maybe you want to work with people who are NGOs who don't have a lot of money, but they're making a lot of impact. That's good. Some people really want high prices. I have like a number in my head that I want to achieve because it pays for my my life in London, pays for my lifestyle, whatever, and then I'm good. This is my baseline. Everything that happens after that, I'm going to invest in my business. I want to get to other people. So I'm not about pay me. But there's a great talk online. It's like years old. It's called "Fuck You, Pay Me." That's the name. That's the title of the talk. It's a video on YouTube. It's amazing to watch. It's like 20 minutes long. If client does not understand why is he paying you, then you can try to explain it. If it goes above your head, that's not your fault. It's for them to understand why they are paying a professional to do a certain job. That's just it. So if they get offended, like, sorry, find a different time.
Yeah, and you'll find another client who
Yeah.
just wants to pay.
I was once, fairly often, I get, because I've been doing this for a long time, a lot of people recommend me to a lot of people. And then when I moved from Croatia to London, my rates changed just because I need to pay for my standard of living here. So I tell people, these are my rates, and a lot of people are like, oh, I can't afford it, and I know they can. And then I just refer them to somebody I know who I can know, like, this is a good person, I know how they work, I recommend this person, and they are cheaper because they are in Croatia. So you can always refer them to somebody who is either less experienced or for some reason different and cheaper than you. But you need to kind of maintain manage their expectations. Like, this is my salary and this is my rate because this is my experience that you're paying. I can send you to somebody who has 5 years less, but they will do under the price, and maybe I can help them out and guide them and just, I always. A couple weeks ago, I did a similar thing where I just did like a 1 day of consulting and then made sure that the guy that I recommended just does work within that I know that he will deliver. It will be fine. So they pay my day rate instead of my month rate, but then I manage the guy and then help them. Yeah.
How do you decide how much to charge? Like, if you don't want to charge too much.
Okay, how do you decide your pricing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is like Fred mentioned, this is the topic we discussed last week on Meetup. We do like small like mastermind groups where we talk about stuff like that. And I heard a lot of different points on how people charge, how people decide how to charge. When you're starting out, I read this online, so this is how I started. I'm not saying that how I did is the only way, but this is what did help me. I calculated how much of hours you want to work per month. And then what is your baseline cost, your apartment, like everything that you need to pay every month. And then above that you need to have a certain buffer if you do not work. And then there's another buffer if you're just sick and whatever medications also. Then you want to travel, maybe 2 times a year. So you just add up all the costs and then add like a 20% on top of that you want to put in your pension fund or whatever you're saving up money. And you will come with a number that you're comfortable with, and it will probably be around the same number that you would get for a permanent position. This is the baseline, and then you just go up from there. This is how I started. I had like, okay, I'm happy with this. If I make this, and I'm working for myself and not for somebody else, and I'm making the same amount, I'm happy. And then what can I do from there to get better clients and just progress from there? Yeah.